Kim, a 29-year-old female with a history of postpartum depression with 3 children ages 2, 7, and 9, and is also a graduate student, has been struggling with increased stress for the past 6 months. Kim's husband was deployed to Afghanistan 6 months ago, and she has been overwhelmed with school and managing her kids' schedule. She made this appointment in anticipation of her husband's return from deployment so that she would have some support during their family reunion and reintegration time, which was prior to the mandatory shelter-in-place orders issued around the country because of the COVID-19 virus pandemic. With all the recent changes and disruptions to her routine, Kim's stress has become unmanageable, and she has had several panic attacks averaging about 3 to 5 per week since the start of the shelter-in-place. Kim reports increased heart rate, feeling irritable often, and getting panic attacks where she feels very scared, like she cannot breathe. She also describes the inability to focus on schoolwork and trouble sleeping. Kim reports that her husband made it home last week and that she's really happy about that. At the same time, this has increased her stress level even more. She says that all of the normal deployment reintegration stress that they feel as a family has been amplified during this crisis. In addition to that, they cannot use their normal coping mechanisms like going to the gym or the beach as a family to blow off steam and relax. She says that she has been drinking more wine in the evenings to relax, which seems to help in the moment, but she always wakes up feeling more anxiety the day after having several drinks.
My name is Joni, and I'm going to be the therapist today, playing the role of therapist, and this is for assignment 2. So before I bring Kim on, I would like to say that I'm going to present to her a mindfulness technique. It's just going to be breathing 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out slowly, just to regulate her nervous system, which I will explain to her obviously in the session, but that is the evidence-based intervention that we'll be focusing on at the moment. So Kim, when you're ready.
Wow, hi, thanks for seeing me. Where do we begin?
You know, after our assessment session that we had, I know that you're dealing with a lot, and I kind of just want to check in with you today to see where you're at and if you're still being affected as much by all of the shelter in place and, your husband being home and stuff. So where are you at?
Well, I would say kind of moment to moment, but overall, I think it's getting worse every day. We're all stuck together in this small space and in the house, and it's really hard. They just extended the school closures again. Up until this point, my 2-year-old had still been in daycare, but the daycares are now closed. So he's home all the time while we're trying to, homeschool other kids. And, when my physical space is messy, it's really hard for me. I think it just amplifies all my stress so much more. And obviously, with, 3 little children running around, there's no order. It's just chaos all the time. And I don't know. I feel like I start out in the morning okay, kind of okay, maybe barely okay. And then, everyone's loud. And as things start to get kind of out of control, like maybe something doesn't go according to plan, we get off of our schedule a little bit, or, somebody falls down and bumps their head or something and they're crying. I cry, or I get agitated and I yell, or, at the worst, I can feel really I just can't breathe. And that's really scary for me.
So explain to me a little bit more when you say you can't breathe. Is it the symptoms? Are you having any kind of chest pain? Is there just you can't get a good breath or a full breath, or what does that feel like for you?
I guess it feels like my heart is racing first, and I feel really scared. And I guess when I say I can't breathe, I'm breathing. I don't pass out or anything, but right. It just feels like I can't get enough. I'm trying to breathe through a straw or something.
Like you said, it's a amplification of your sensors or your sensory system, kind of being overloaded or overwhelmed, right? Because everything right now is just so what do you call it? Like, it's under the microscope. You guys are just like in that little tiny space, and it's, you know, you having to get used to having your husband back home too. And, you know, it's a lot of factors that are in place right now. And so what I wanted to offer you, since you are having, you know, the, I guess maybe anxiety attacks or panic attacks at times, is a breathing technique, which is evidence-based intervention. And it's been proven that this form of mindfulness method can actually calm the nervous system. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the automatic nervous system. It has two sides to it, which is the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And all that means broken down is that the sympathetic is like the fight, flight, or freeze response. And then the parasympathetic is like a calming, relaxing, like your system is kind of on pause and just being able to, you know, be at ease, essentially. And so, yeah, so with something like this going on in the world, you're going to be hyper vigilant, right? And you're going to be operating at like more of a survival mode. And so you might be feeling that, right? Like you're more like reactionary.
Yeah, I feel crazy because, you know, what's the problem? And, you know, it's like a vacation, right? I'm home. I don't have to go anywhere, but it doesn't feel like that. I feel like fight or flight all the time, like making breakfast. It's fight or flight. Why? I feel crazy, you know?
Right. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just offer you that very simple technique, because you can do it anywhere, at any time. Obviously not driving. I don't recommend you like closing your eyes when you drive, but you can still do the breathing in slowly and the breathing out slowly. So if you don't mind, I would like to try and practice this with you right now, just to get this under your belt. Okay. All right. So in the space that you have, hopefully there isn't or aren't too many distractions. If you want, you can kind of dim the lights a little bit, whatever makes it a little bit, you know, easier for you to relax. And just in starting all of this, I want you to get in a seated position that feels comfortable and good for you. And when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes and just breathe in nice and deep and slow, and for a 5-second count. So whatever that looks like to you, but just try to like slow it down a little bit, you know, so just breathe in for 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale for the same amount of time, slowly. And then just start to get in a rhythm that you feel comfortable with. And then once you get there and you feel that you have a good breathing technique down, I want you to start checking in with your body very slowly, starting at top of your head, and just do like a very slow scan as you're breathing. And during this scan, I just want you to see if you're holding any tension anywhere as well. So as you're going down through your head and through your face, like even at your jawline, you can kind of loosen your jaw, move it side to side slowly. And just anywhere that you might be holding any tension, like I said, like even in your neck as you move down, or your shoulders, just try to like bring them back and down and relax. And just continue that scan all the way down to your toes. It's very slowly. Breathing in for 5. And exhaling out for 5. Relaxing your body. And just letting the weight of the world just pass you by. And if a thought comes into your mind, then just let it leave as quickly as it came in. Don't hold on to any of it. Just recognize it and release it. And then when you're ready, you can start doing the scan back up from your toes and bring it all the way back up to your head. Slowly awakening parts of yourself to make sure that you're ready to open your eyes when that moment comes. Slow and steady breaths. How is that for you?
I think that was good. I think I feel very relaxed. And when you mentioned the jaw, I was so surprised because I didn't notice that I was punching my jaw so tight. And when I released it, I was just very surprised. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you knew better than I did.
Yeah, it's surprising the places that we can hold our stress, like you wouldn't think that it'd be in your jaw, or maybe like you wouldn't place it in your neck, but more on your shoulders. So it's just one of those things that you can always check in with yourself no matter where you're at. If you feel like you're spinning, I would definitely advise you to just take a moment. If you need your husband to, step in and watch the kids for 5 minutes. And I was going to give you a couple other options too, really quick for that. So there's a app that you can get for your phone. A couple of them actually. There's Yoga Nidra, which is something that it's free, and it is basically a woman who does like guided meditation through your body that you can put on at night as you're in bed. Pardon?
Like you just did, sort of?
A little bit, yeah. So she has you check in slowly with your breath and like where you're at, like for relaxation in your bed. And then there's also something called Calm, which through USC, I believe, is a free app as well. So with those two, that should be, a well-rounded form of trying to get you to a good place, for relaxation if you don't feel comfortable just doing the breathing on your own. And then there's also a weighted blanket that you can get too, which stimulates the vagus nerve. And so that honestly feels like just, a big hug throughout the night. So it'll just keep you in a parasympathetic state. Even if you wake up, you'll still be able to get right back to where you were. So as you get used to this practice a little bit more, you'll notice that maybe you don't have to close your eyes and you can just do the breathing itself, to calm yourself. But I would recommend just getting, your feet wet with it to see what actually works best for you before incorporating like other sensory options. But for right now, I would just say, if you can hand off the kids to your husband for a moment, just for 5 minutes, I think that would benefit you in the long run.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can handle that. I think I can try that.
We can check back in next week and see where you're at with it. And if that's not working or any of the other options that I gave you, then we can look into other things as well for inner balance. Okay?
Okay, so I'll still see you at the same time next week, right?
Absolutely. And if you have any questions or concerns before then, just send me an email or a text and I'll get right back to you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. This was really helpful.
Great. And, be well.